Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everyone. Welcome once again on behalf of Cost Umbrella and Professional Institute of Quantity Surveyors. My name is Ishan Tahir. I am a digital marketing and IT manager at Cost Umbrella, and I am delighted to be with you today as we continue our 2025 webinar series. The Cost Umbrella and PIQS collaboration helps construction professionals by combining practical tips and real examples. Many engineers are skilled but not industry-specific knowledge. This webinar series fills the gap by teaching key standards and best practices. We are truly excited about this opportunity and deeply grateful to PIQS management for trusting Cost Umbrella to plan and conduct this series. Let's move forward and explore what's in store for you. Today marks the sixth session, Understanding Procurement Strategy, from our webinar series of 12 planned for the year of 2025. On behalf of Cost Umbrella and PIQS, we are honored to welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Awais, for taking time for today's session. Thank you all for joining us today. Before we start today, let's quickly look back at our last 5 webinars. In our first webinar, we explored project management office and RIBA plan of work. In the second webinar, we focused on feasibility studies and viability assessment using key financial indicators. In third webinar, we dived into design development through project lifecycle, covering stages from pre-construction to execution. In the fourth webinar, we covered the technical foundations of planning and time entitlement, fundamentals of schedules and basics of EOT. In the fifth webinar, we covered BID Techno-Commercial, which was the CPD held in Riyadh on 22nd August on 2025. Today in webinar 6, we shift our focus to crucial foundations of project delivery, understanding procurement strategy. Today's session is built on our 4 essential pillars for successful project delivery. The first pillar is strategic foundation and core procurement routes. We will define procurement, the buying process. We will review core methods like traditional and design and build, advanced routes. We will examine sophisticated methods like management contracting and construction management. In the third, contractor selection, tendering method, we will detail the different tendering types: open, selective, negotiated, and serial tendering. Financial basis, the fourth one. We will analyze project financial structures, lump sum measurement contracts, and cost reimbursable contracts using standards like FIDIC and JCT. This session will give you the tools to select the best strategy for project success and financial control. Now here is our fourth slide. In this section, provide details about the continuous professional development CPD programs offered in collaboration with PIQS. These programs are designed to enhance your skill and knowledge, helping you stay ahead in the construction industry. We are proud to announce the massive success of our CPD program, Bid Preparation, which was held on August 2022 in Tilal Riyadh Hotel, with more than 120 attendees in person and 600 plus online participants. We will offer other CPDs in cost planning in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The purpose of cost planning is to learn to create accurate cost plans aligned with industry standards. And the third one about career in quantity surveying, which will be held in Pakistan, exploring the scope, opportunities, and the best practices in QS quantity surveying. Most importantly, we are thrilled to announce the launch of our new course website, skillumbrella.com. Dedicated to specialized training programs, we have now launched our comprehensive paid courses with industry experts. You can find the details of the program designed to equip professionals with the skills to master bid preparation, tendering, and the cost planning, ensuring you are ready for the today's competitive industry. And next is the list of our 12 upcoming courses. Now in this slide, I will show you the screenshot of the website. The URL of the website is skillumbrella.com. Here in the courses section, you can explore the options about the courses and the details about the bid preparation, tendering, and cost planning. Sorry. Mr. Avas is an accomplished commercial manager with over 12 years of extensive experience in commercial management, cost management, and quantity surveying across various international companies. His background includes key roles managing complex commercial strategies for major projects, including those with the Ministry of Tourism of Saudi Arabia. He brings deep practical insight into strategic procurement. We are thrilled to host him, especially as a recipient of the Employee of the Year award, highlighting his leadership and excellence in the field. Now, I would like to call Mr. Avas. Over to you, Mr. Avas.
Thank you so much, Mr. Zishan. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. My name is Awais Ahmed, and I'm currently working as a commercial manager at MAP Consult, a consultancy company based in Eastern Province. Today, I will present an overview of the procurement strategy in construction. Okay. It is an essential framework that determines how the projects are delivered and how the risk is managed. Can you go to the next slide, Mr. Zishan? Okay, so in this slide, let me explain what is the procurement. Procurement is the overall act of obtaining the goods and services from the external source. In building construction, we call it as hiring the building contractor. It includes deciding the method, strategy for the acquisition by reviewing the client main requirement, which include the time, quality, cost, and their attitude to the risk. Can you go to the next slide? Okay, so in previous slide, you got about what is procurement. So the procurement strategy, establishing a procurement strategy is vital in the early stage of the project. It involves understanding the client goals for the time, cost, quality, and risk. The main purpose of the procurement strategy is to dictate how the project will proceed, be executed, and be monitored. There are three main objectives for the procurement strategy: is to identify the best way to achieve the client objectives, to ensure the selection of the most appropriate strategy based on the client primary goal, which I explained earlier, which is the time, cost, quality, and the risk, to guarantee that our client obtain the right project at the right price at the right time. These are the three main objectives of the procurement strategy. Can you go to the next slide? Okay, there are key factors which drive the procurement strategies. So the main purpose to meet the client requirements. Okay, the strategy is derived from these factors actually, starting from understanding the client needs and wants, client preference times, which is times, cost, and quality, allocation of the risk to the most suitable parties, the level of client involvement in the project, the separation of the design from the management, the complexity of the projects, and needs for the price certainty. These are the 7 factors which drives the main procurement strategy. Yes, can we go to the next? Okay, in this slide, you can see the overview of the procurement strategies. There are 4 main elements of the procurement strategy, starting from the working arrangements, tendering method, and form of contract, and the contract types. So these are the main 4 elements of our procurement strategies. So from the working arrangement, we called as a procurement route. There are 4 procurement route, which is starting from the traditional, design and build. So the traditional also called as a design, bid, build. In the design and build, the management contracting and construction management, there are 4 procurement route we called as a working arrangement. The tendering method, there are 4 tendering methods that are being used, which is open tendering, selective tendering, negotiated tendering, and serial tendering. Form of contract, there are different form of contract are being used in the industries, starting from the FIDIC, JCT, NEC, IC, and others. There are different type of contracts are being used, which is lump sum, remeasured, and cost reimbursement. We will go each and every elements in detail in upcoming slides. Yes. Okay. In this slide, you can see the 4 procurement routes, which is well known and widely used in the public and private sector. Number one is a traditional, called as a design, bid, and bid. The second is design and bid. The third is management contracting and the construction management. Yes, go to the next slide. Okay, there are factors governing the procurement route. Basically, starting from the times. So these are the procurement route. We can define which procurement route is the best for the client. These are the main factors that governing. So which is early completion, price certainty prior to the start of the construction, quality meet the client specific expectation, avoid the prohibited cost of the change, the complexity of the projects, which is a technically advanced or highly complex of the building, the responsibility, single contractual link for the project execution, risk avoidance, desire to recover the cost direct from the contractors, and the buildability, the contractor input for the economics of the construction. Yes. Okay. This is the first procurement route, first method, which is a design traditional procurement route. Here you can see the most common and long standard methods are being used. Project is designed fully designed before the contractor is selected via the competitive biddings. You can see the yes, previous slides. Can you go? Okay, here you can see the contractual relationship. So there is one client, okay, first who appoint the design teams, which include the architect, quantity survey, structural engineers, and others, and then he appoint the contractors through the biddings, and then the main contractors will appoint the subcontractor, and the subcontractor will appoint the subcontractors, and then the supplier. So there's a contractual relationship between the client, the main contractors, and the design team. So the sequence is first the design should be completed, and then it goes to the tendering, and then it goes to the construction. Yes. So there are main advantages and disadvantages of this procurement route, which is a quality of the design. So the quality is under employer control, which is one of the main advantages. Client can control full the design since he has a separate design team. So there's a cost and risk. So the cost certainty, less contractor risk because the early stage, because the design is completed by the client, and the lower tender price because of the design. We have fully designed before the tendering. Flexibility, power of the change, so avoid the prohibited cost of the change. Change is easy to issue and values. Administration, so relatively low tender preparations, cost, standard form of contract are widely used. Accountability is a comprehensive and transparent. So because we have the full design and we have we can go for the tendering, so we have full accountability. We can check each and every price. There are some drawbacks and disadvantages for this procurement route, which is no single point of responsibility because design done by the clients and execution done by the contractor. So if there is anything is within the design, so it is the responsibility of the client. So that's why there is no single point of responsibility. It is a time-consuming process because first we have to complete the design, then we will go with the tendering, and then we will go to the execution. So there is a long time required for this process. There is a risk. Strategic based on the price competitions could be lead to the adversarial risk. So contractor expected is not used in this design. So we cannot have a contractor expertise because in complex project you might need a contractor involvement during the design stage, which is not possible in this stage. So this is the one kind of disadvantages. There is a certainty. Incomplete tender document leads to uncertainty and dispute. So if the design is not completed, if the design is not mature at early stage, so you can have you might have the dispute and uncertainty. The buildability, so lack of contractor expertise input. This is one of the disadvantages. Yes, can we go to the next? Okay, there are some kind of risk in this procurement route that the client needs to be managed. So split responsibility, design and construction functions are split, no single point of responsibility. So this is one of the risk for the client. There's a cost overrun risk of the cost increase due to the changes, inadequate prime cost sum or quantities in the remeasurement. So this is one kind of the risk that the client should focus. The program overrun, if the client frequently make the changes, so there could be time overrun, so which is one of the risks that the client should manage it. Design teams may lack the relevant experience. If the design teams does not have the experience for complex type of projects, so then this is kind of the risk, because where the contractor does not involve in the design in the traditional procurement routes. So this is if the project is complex, where they need the good quality of the design. So the contractors, the client teams does not have the basically the design team does not have the relevant experience. So this is one kind of the risk. Okay, there's the mitigation of the risk. Perform the due diligence on the design and bill of quantities to check the fixed cost. Insist on the individual warranties with all the parties. Cost check on the PC sums. So increase of the professional indemnities of the changes consultants. Add the approval procedures for the changes. So this is the mitigations. The client should mitigate these factors, these risks. Yes. Okay, there's a second procurement route, which is a design and build procurement route. So in this route, the contractor is responsible for both, for the design and build, and work with the employer directly, okay, on a fixed and lump sum project. The client prepare for the employer requirements. So the client, first you can see here the contractual relationship. The client basically appoint the employer agent. You can call it as a consultant, you can call it as an employer agent. And then the employer agent basically prepare the requirement for the client, and then appoint a contractor. So the contractor basically requested to submit the proposal, and then based on the pre-qualification, so the contractor is selected. Then the contractor appoint the design teams, including the architect, quantity surveyor, structure designer, and the building services. So in the previous method, the contractual relationships, the client appoint the design team, and then the client appoint the main contractor. But in this design and build procurement route, so the client appoint directly the main contractors, then who appointed the design team. So the contractual relationship is changed in this. So there's a one single point of responsibility in this procurement route, differ from the main route. Then the main contractor appoint further the subcontractor, and the subcontractor further appoint the subcontractor, and then the supplier. So the sequence of this route is the first the design and first the client basically performed the tendering services, and then he appointed the main contractor, and then the design and the construction both goes in parallel. So there's a difference in the timing here. Yes, can we go to the next? Okay, for this procurement route, there are some advantages and there are some disadvantages. So the first advantage is responsibility. So single point of responsibility for the design and construction, less design issues because the contractor is responsible for all kind of matters. And then the time, less time consuming because of the overlap of the design and the constructions, because the contractor is appointed at early stage. So he can start the design, and in parallel, he can start his construction work for the mobilization and so on. So there's a cost. Core price is more certainty in this procurement route because the contractor is appointed early price. The buildability is because the contractor expertise is used because the contractor is responsible for the design. So all the buildability is, we have the advantages for the buildability. So reduce the risk, the client risk, because the contractor is responsible for the design. There are disadvantages for this procurement route, which is a cost. So because of the contractors appointed based on the high level design, so the contractor's margin, the risk premium is higher. So the cost could be more in this procurement route. Quality may be compromised because client has less control over the design. There is a tendering is difficult because of the early stage, so hardest to compare to determine the prices. One kind of risk is in the tendering. Flexibility variation from the original briefs are difficult and often expensive. So if the client want to make any changes, so it will be difficult for him and it will be more expensive. Client may find it hard to prepare the sufficient comprehensive brief. So because of the early stage, so client might not have a clear requirements. So it is difficult to prepare the client brief in this. This is one of the disadvantages. Yes. Can you go to the next slide?
I'm sorry for the interruption, Mr. Wes.
Yes.
There is a form in the comment section. Please make your attendance before ending the webinar. Thank you. Please continue, Mr.
Thank you so much.
Wes.
Okay. Can we go to the next slide? Okay. There are some kind of risk and the mitigation strategies that in this design and build procurement route. The outcome. So the end result may not fully meet to the client expectation because of the early stage. There are minimum level of information. The minimum information is provided. The quality and the due diligence. Risk if the design and build contractor lack the proper professional indemnity insurance for the design, in-house designer lack of track record. So this is one kind of risk. Client has no control over the design because all the design is the design will be done by the contractor. Through there are mitigations for this risk. So throughout the examine employer requirement and the contractor proposals, obtain access of the actual designer via the warranties and their PI insurances. So these are the mitigations are being proposed because if we need to go to the design and build procurement route, so these mitigations should be done. Carry out the design due diligence, architectural and structural reviews. Carry out the legal due diligence of the contract. Yes. Can we go to the next slide? Okay. We have done the two, which is the basic procurement route. There are two advanced procurement route. We will explain in upcoming slides. Okay. So the management contracting, the role management contracting is implied to manage the constructions and contribute expertise to the design, paid fees for doing so. So here you can see the contractual relationship. The client basically will appoint the contractors, which is the prime contractors, and then the client also appoint a design team. Okay, so the contractor is appointed on a fee basis, but who will actually give his expertise to the design teams. Okay, so to design the project. So the main the direct contractual link will be with the client. So the client will appoint the contractor at the early stage of the project, and in parallel, the client will also appoint the design team. So the main contractor is a low risk, okay, reimbursed for the cost of the package, okay, plus their own fees. This is a fast track method where we do not have the define the project requirement. So we can go with this method. So the sequence, so the design will go in parallel, the trending can go in parallel, and the construction will start in parallel. So this is a fast track method where the design and the project requirements are not clearly defined. Yes. Can we go to the next slide? Okay. There are some advantages and disadvantages for this procurement route. Early start and early completions is possible in this route. So the contractor contribute his expertise, okay, to manage, and main contractors and specialist subcontractors experience use in this procurement route. Flexibility can accommodate the later design decisions. If there's any changes, so we can accommodate in the later stage. There is a cost control. So each subcontractor is tendered individually and ensure the full competitiveness. So the buildability, they promote the buildability and in economical design. So these are the main advantages. There are some disadvantages, which is the cost certainties. Costs are not fixed at the outset. Okay, typically only 20 to 40% fixed at the start, because we do not have the details, so there could not be a fixed price. Responsibility, no single point of responsibility, because multiple contractors or subcontractors are appointed. So the client involvement is high, the high degree of interference of the and in programming. The client assumes of high level of times and degree of the risk. So there is a conflict, potential for the conflict because multiple subcontractors are appointed. So there could be the conflict from one to others. So one delay, it might be responsible for the others. So these are the main disadvantages. Yes. Okay. There are some risk and there are mitigations. So the cost is not fixed. Main contractor is not responsible for the subcontractor problems. Risk borne by the client. So added the design contingency, amend the contract for the main contractors to be responsible for the program, dispute and the workmanship. In the design is not completed at the outset. Main contractor is not responsible for the design defects by the subcontractors. So this is the one of kind of the risk in the design. Carry out the design due diligence, insist on the system of the PI covers and the warranties. Yes. Can you go to the next slide? Okay. There's a fourth route of the procurement is the construction management. Okay. It's difference from the management contracting. The role of the construction managers act as a consultants to the coordinate to the design teams and supervise the construction process. So the construction manager is appointed as a paid of a fees. So the contractual links, so the trade contractors are in direct contract with the client. So in a management contractor, the client will appoint the main contractors, and then the main contractors will be appointed by the subcontractor. So the contractual relationship for the subcontractors will be on the main contractor. But in the construction manager, so the client will appoint a construction manager, but the contractual relationship will be with the client. So there is no contractual relationship in this procurement route with the construction manager. So the construction manager is appointed on a fee basis. Now the function, so the construction manager role including the programming, breaking down the packages and tenderings and according to the supervising of the work. So you can see here in the contractual relationship, which I explained before. So the client is appointed the main contractors, management contractors on a fee basis, and then the client will appoint the design team on a fee basis, and then the main contractors will work under subcontractor will work under the main contractor, but the contractual relationship will be on the client. So there is only small difference in the construction management route and the management contracting, only in terms of the contractual relationship. So the sequence is the same as before. The design will start in parallel, the tendering will go in parallel, and the construction can start in parallel. Yes. So the advantages and disadvantages, there are few advantages and disadvantages for this procurement route. So the construction manager is a qualified advisor to the employer who can basically specialist subcontractor experience used in the design. So the time design and construction are overlaps. So this route is a faster. So the control direct contractual relationship cost could be controlled directly because the contractual relationship will be with the client. So the cost control. So each subcontractor is tendered individually. So we have control on the cost. So this is one of the advantage. So there are a few disadvantages. Cost certainty because of no cost certainty because of there are multiple packages. So costs are not fixed at the early stage. So the client might not know about the total cost of the project. So no single responsibilities because multiple subcontractors are appointed. So the client assume a high risk, which is the level of times and the design risk. So the complex coordination because of the multiple subcontractors, high degree of the interference and the program requires. So the liability, so since the construction manager is appointed on a fee basis, so he's not responsible for liable for the programs and the delays. Yes. Can we go to the next? Okay. So there are some risk and mitigation for this procurement route, which is the first is the time and cost. Cost is not fixed. So construction manager is not liable for the program delay. Risk of the delay of the cost increase borne by the client. The design and the liability. So construction manager, so the contractor is not responsible for the design defects due to the subcontractors. Lack of professional indemnity insurance is on the subcontractors. So this is one kind of risk for the client. There are mitigation of the risk. Added an additional design contingencies to the budget is one of the mitigation plan. Convert the construction management appointed to one of the risk of the program overrun. Insist on moving some subcontractors into the main contractor responsibility if the main contractor is used, or increase the construction manager professional indemnity insurance is covered. Consider the blanket PI policy for the entire project. So these are the basically mitigation for the clients to if they are using for this procurement route. Yes. Okay. So let us go to our next main element of our procurement strategy, which I explained. There are 4 main elements. One is procurement route, which I explained before. There are 4 major procurement routes. Traditional method, which is a design, bid and build, design and build, management contracting, and construction management. So I give you a full overview of what is procurement route, what are the contractual relationship, what are the sequence of this procurement in terms of the timeline, and then what are the risks, what are the mitigation strategies, and what are the advantages and disadvantages. So the next main element of the procurement strategy, there are 4 main elements, is a tendering. So what is a tendering? Let me explain in a simple way. Tendering is an important phase of the procurement. So tendering is not a procurement. Tendering is a part of the procurement, which is an important phase of the procurement, okay, where it is a bidding process used to obtain the price. So we call it as a tender. So we ask the contractors to submit the price. So the tender is the bidder is the contractor is doing the bidding. So through in the bidding, he submit the price. So which is part of the tendering process. It is the mechanism. In another definition, you can say it is a mechanism for appointing the contractor. So this is the simple term is that there is a difference from the procurement and the tendering. So it is a part of the process where you will ask the contractors to submit the bid. Yes. Can we go to the next? Okay. There are 4 main type of tendering, which are being used in the industries. So number 1 is open tendering. In this tendering method, you can anyone who can participate. It is open. So any interested contractors can ask. Any interested contractor can submit the bid. Okay, there's no time limit. There is no limitation for anyone who can participate or who can join it. Selective tendering, so which is basically are being currently practices. So first you will request the contractors to submit the pre-qualification, and then based on some criteria, you will select the contractors, and then you will ask them to bid or to submit the tender. The third one is a negotiated tender. So this is basically a method. A single contractor is selected. So you will select only one contractors, okay, and then you start negotiating with this contractor. The fourth is the serial tender. So the contractor is selected for a series of similar type of projects. So you can select, for example, one contractor. So then he can do the same type of project. He can do in a serial way. Yes. Okay. So the open tendering, there are some advantages and disadvantages, which I will explain here. Which is highly competitive because anyone who can submit, who can come and participate in this tendering process. There is a transparency because no one is there is no limitation. You cannot have only selective contractors. So based on your preference, so anyone who comes, so there will be a transparency in the pricing, and there are good opportunities for anyone who want to bid. Okay, so this is a good for the new companies. This method actually is used by the government, okay, where they publish the advertisement in the newspapers. So anyone who wish to submit, they can come and participate. There are some drawbacks, and Can you go to the previous slide, Mr. Dishan? Yes, there are some disadvantages for this procurement, for this tendering method, which is the time consuming, because there might be some many contractors come and which is not maybe qualified, or which is not, does not have experience for this kind of projects. So making the evaluations, making reviewing their bids, which is the time consuming. So this is one kind of disadvantages for this particular tendering method. The risk of receiving bid, which I explained, because you might have unqualified contractors who does not have experience, who does not know how to build the projects. So this is one of the disadvantages, and which is the time consuming also. When we need to use this, because where there's a maximum competition and transparency is required. Because in government project, you know that the transparency is the first principle. So they need to use this method, because they want to show that everyone can participate and everyone has the opportunity to submit the bid. Yes. Can we go to the next? Okay. No, previous one, please. Okay, selective tendering. Okay, which is a different from the open tendering. So here only pre-selected contractors are invited to submit the bid. So first you will, let me give you some overview of this selector. So first you will start pre-qualification. You will ask the contractors to submit the pre-qualification document. And then based on your project requirement, based on the criteria, you will pre-qualify the contractor, and then you will invite them to, on the tendering, you will invite them to submit the bid. So here, all the contractors have the opportunities to bid in this project, in this method. There are some advantages for this method. So because you have only selected on a certain criteria, on a pre-qualification method, so you know about what all these contractors have the capabilities to do this kind of project. So reduce the number of bids because of the pre-qualification. So all the contractors, you have a limited contractors who are invited and submitted the bid. So here is a limited contractor, so you can save time in the bid evaluation in overall process. There is a disadvantages. So not all the companies have the opportunity to submit the bid. Only a selective contractors have the opportunity to submit in this process. Maybe perceived as a less transparency, because not all the contractors have opportunity to submit the bids. So the price you receive from the contractors, maybe sometimes they are not accurate, they are not transparent. Project is requiring specific expertise or a high quality standard. So if the project is required highly experienced contractors, so this method is good for them because you will be selected contractors on a pre-qualification basis. You know about this contractor has the capability, has are qualified, can do this project. So if you have a certainty on a project where the highly complex projects are required, this method is a good for them, for the client. Yes. Okay. Negotiated tender. This is completely different from the open and from the single state tender. Here there is no any competition. There is no any selections. So you will invite only one single contractor. Okay, and then you start negotiating with them. Okay, on a certain agreement and a term basis. So there are some advantages for this method, which is the flexibility to negotiate terms and the price. Can be faster and competitive because even the pre-qualification and even the tendering process will take a time. So if there is no time for the tendering, so this method is good for this kind of project. It will be a faster, okay, and then through the negotiation it can be a competitive. Low selection cost and less time involved. So because of less time is required, mistake in pricing can be reduced. So if there is any mistake in the pricing, you can review, you can discuss, and you can negotiate with the contractor. There are some drawbacks and disadvantages for this method. Lack of competitions may lead to the high cost. if the contractor does not have experience in such kind of projects. So through the negotiation, it will be time consuming. It will be highly risk and highly cost. Perception of favoritism is one of the main disadvantages. So sometimes you have a favorite contractors, you might invite him, and you might just start negotiating. So favoritism is one of the disadvantages here. Accountability. So there is no accountability and there is no value for money because the transparency is not there. Because the whole tendering is required a transparency. Since there is no transparency, so this is in this procurement, in this tendering method. So this is there is no accountability. So which might not be value for money for the client, and the transparency is compromised in this tendering method. When we need to use this method, when it is suitable, when the specialized project where the contractors has unique expertise. So for example, in oil and gas project, if this is a specialized or highly risk project, okay, where you need to start direct negotiation. In emergency, if you need to start the project faster, for example, if sometime the government has some project which is a fast track project. So in a fast track project, this is the best for this kind of method. Yes, can we go to the next? Okay, serial tender. This is the fourth method of the tendering. A contractor is selected for a series of similar projects over a period. For example, if the client want to build a school, okay, and there are different schools in a different location. So you can this is the method where you can appoint on a series basis. There are some advantages: consistency and continuity in the project delivery. Okay, because you have the similar projects. Protect for the cost saving through the long-term relationship learning curve. Okay, there are some disadvantages: less competitive process, risk of the competency from the contractors over time. When basically this method is best for the client, when organization has ongoing or similar projects, for example, the retail rollout, standard infrastructure. Maintaining the consistency, quality, and efficiency is important. So in this method, the serial tendering is the best for the client. Yes, can we go to the next? Okay. So the third main element is the financial basis. We'll explain about what are the, yes, can you go to the next? Yes. So in the financial basis, which is type of contract, these contract options are used in the various procurement route: lump sum, remeasured, and cost reimburse. Okay. These are the three major financial basis or type of contract are being used, can be used in a different procurement route. Yes. Can you go to the next? Okay. So in the lump sum contract, a single lump sum fixed price for all the works is agreed before the work begin. The contractor is responsible for executing the complete contract work for the started sum. So you will have a single lump sum price for the whole project even before starting of the work. So which is when is appropriate this type of method is when the project is well defined, we have a firm BOQ, we have a clear scope, and the vendor tender are sought, and sufficient changes are unlikely. So if there is no changes in the contract or in the design, and you have clear and definitive design, so you can use this method, this financial basis as a lump sum contract. If the design is not clear, if the design is not 100% mature, so this lump sum is not suitable for this. So apportion more risk for the contractor than other forms. So if the lump sum contract is there, so the contractor has more risk because of the lump sum. It is not a fixed price. It is a guaranteed price, can be changed. So in a lump sum, even you cannot consider it as a guaranteed price. It is a lump sum, but based on the scope and the design. So if the things are changed in the contract, in the design, So of course the price might be changed. So there is a mechanism for verifying the contract sum. It is not a guaranteed price. It means the final and ultimate price. It is not ultimate price, because if there is a changes in the contract, in the design, still the price will change. But the lump sum is based on the design and based on the client requirement. So there are mechanisms for varying or changing in the contract. So variation is the price will be changed through the variation order, through the variation. The relevance events, if there is any event in the project, so the price will change. If there is any provisional sum in the project, so the price will change. If there is any fluctuation during time, okay, which will be the price will change. So the payments to the nominated subcontractors. So if you have a condition or if you have a method in the project where under the provisional sum the client can appoint a nominated subcontractor. Basically, this is one of the criteria in lump sum contract. If any part of the design is not there, so client can put the provisional sum. Under the provisional sum, the client can appoint a nominated subcontractor. If the client is appointed a nominated subcontractor, then the price can be changed. There are some advantages and disadvantages for this lump sum type of contract. The minimal risk on the client because of the lump sum. Fewer variation order is expected because of the design is already mature, unless the client make any changes. So there is no variation is expected. The client cash flow is predictable. So since the client knows about the total price, the final price, the total price of the project, so they can there will be a cash flow. There will be predictable cash flow. So there are disadvantages for this procurement route. High contractor risk because of the lump sum. Contractor will consider some kind of risk, okay, in a productivity, in a mismanagement. So if there is any errors in the design, it is also contractor responsibility, and this will be on a contractor risk. So the contractors will put some kind of risk to manage this kind of risk. Yes. For the poor design, if the design is is poor, it has a lack of details. So the contractor, it is highly on the contractor risk. Procurement time can be long. So one of the disadvantages is the procurement. If the procurement can be long on this method. Yes. Can you go to the next slide? Okay. Measurement contract used when the design can be described, but amount/quantity cannot be accurately determined at the outset. So if you have a design, but the design is not immature, it's not 100%. So the quantities cannot be calculated a full, or the specification or the details are not fully described or available. So you can go with the client can go with this measurement contract where the PIQS is prepared, but the specifications the quantities are not accurate. So the client will submit the bid based on the approximate or tentative quantities, and the contract will be on a unit base. Tenders are based on the drawings and approximate quantities, the processes on a schedule of rate. The contract sum calculated on a completion based on the remeasure of the actual work carried out on site. So the total cost of the project will be calculated at the end of the project when the quantities are remeasured and the actual costs are determined. Yes. Can you go to the next? Okay. So the cost reimbursement contract. So the contractor is reimbursed the actual cost incurred plus on additional fees. So this method actually, this type of contract is used where there is no details, there is no design, but the early stage or quick project start is required. So the client can agree with the contractor on a rate basis, and then he can basically agree on a fees. So the contractors will be basically procuring all the material and submitting to the client, and then the client will pay above agreed fees because of the of the no design and no details are available. If there is any early stage or quick start of the project is required, so this method is suitable for this kind of project. So when is appropriate? So the nature of scope or the work cannot be properly defined at the outset. So if there is emergency work, or if there is and the quick start is required, so this cost reimbursements is good for this kind of project. It is a highly risk for the client because the client will not know about the total cost. So the cash flow cannot be predictable, and the total value of the project will not be known by the client. So this is one kind of risk for the client. Yes. Okay. So the form of contract. This is the fourth major element of the procurement strategy. Form of contract. There are different form of contracts are available in the industries. Okay. So basically, the form of contract will depend on the procurement route, depend on the contract strategy. Depend on the type of contract, and the depend of the procurement tendering strategy. So there are different form of contracts. These are the mostly widely well known, which is a FIDIC, JCT, ICE, also NEC, and so on. But there is no specific, in particular to Saudi Arabia, there is no specific form of contract are being used, but widely used is a FIDIC. But there is no any specific type of contract in a public sector. But the parties are free. You can use any type of contract. But in a form of contract, you have to use basically based on your project. So first you will decide the procurement route, and then you will decide the tendering strategies, and then you will know about the type of contract. So based on that, you can decide what form of contract is the best, is suitable for you. But even the FIDICs or the JCT and IC, these are the standard form of contract, but that does not give. But you have to basically adjust according to your project and according to the client requirement. But you can use them as a standard. You can because of the contract, there is no standard form. Yes. Can you go to the next? Okay. Basically, the purpose of this whole procurement, understanding the procurement strategy, is to give an overview, to give an idea to the industry professionals what are the main elements of the procurement strategies and how these elements are linked with each other. So when you are selecting the procurement route, you need to know about what is the advantages, what are the disadvantages, what is the procurement basically contractual relationship, what are the sequence. Okay, accordingly you can decide your tendering strategies. Accordingly you can decide the form of contract, and accordingly you can decide the type of contract. So the whole purpose of this basically this webinar, which is conducted by Cost Umbrella and in collaboration with the PIQS, to give you an overview. When you are working with the client, you need to basically have a complete overview which type of procurement route is the best for this client, and accordingly which type of tendering strategies is suitable, and then which form of contract and the type of contract is required. So the overall object of this whole procurement strategy is to select the right project for the right price at the right time. So we try to deliver to give you an overview about this concept, so you can have a clear overview. So whenever you are working with the client, you can get a full picture. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Abbas. There is a question from an individual named as Saeed Ahmad. Under lump sum contract, who will have design responsibilities?
Okay, as I said, so basically the procurement strategy is to define the route, the tendering strategy, the contract strategy, and the type of contract. So if you are choosing a traditional method of the procurement under the traditional design bid and build, where the client will appoint the design team and then the contractors. So in this method, you can go with the lump sum, because in a lump sum contract, you need to have a full design. You cannot go with the management contractor, because there is no design. So in a lump sum contract, first you need to have a design, okay, and then you can have a contractor. So the question was about who will be responsible for the design is the client. Correct?
Okay, sir. There is another question from Tahir.
Yes.
CSI is also a type of contract? Question mark.
No, CSI is basically arrangement. CSI is related to the technical specification. It is not related to the procurement strategy. Procurement strategy, as I explained, involve 4 major elements: procurement route, tendering strategy, type of contract, and form of contract. These 4 elements are part as a procurement strategy. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Awais. And now we are wrapping Q&A session. And lastly, we hope today's session offered useful insight and practical knowledge. A big thank you to our speaker, Mr. Awais, for sharing his expertise, and to all of you for your active involvement. Thanks to all attendees. The certificates of today's session will be distributed to all attendees through their registered email IDs. Our upcoming webinar will focus on value management and value engineering. Please stay tuned for the remaining 6 webinars and keep visiting the LinkedIn page of PIQS and Cost Umbrella for more information. Thank you once again, and we look forward to see you in the next session.